Hey dudes, it's Lerald. We've got another update for you here on the toxic Rain Pathfinder build that we've been playing thus far in Keepers League. I'll go ahead and cut right to the point and say that the main thing that we've upgraded in this last round of updates is damage. I guess you could say everything. We are faster, tankier, higher damage. We still have a lot of things left to do, so we're not at the end of the road just yet, but we have made huge progress. The build is killing Ubers. I just killed like 5 Uber bosses. I haven't bothered to do all 10, I don't know, time. So we're still blasting map farming strategies first and foremost, but you know, whatever, we'll get to them, get those challenges done eventually. And they've all died really easily for what it's worth. They were all easy stuff. Having now done the 3 new Uber bosses, I have to say, they're some of the coolest looking fights they've ever made in PoE 1, and I don't know what any of the mechanics are at all. I also think, even though they only cost like 1 chaos a fragment, I think I still might have lost currency doing them. So, yeah, you know, whatever. So as we've said before, you can find written versions of our guides on Mobalytics and PoE Vault. Those are also going to be in the description box below as well. Let's go ahead and get into the build, but first be sure to like and subscribe and join our Discord on top of that. Okay, here we have the character. It is finally coming into real, like, in-game form. I spent a long time at level 98, like, not even trying to get XP, just, you know, quickly dying. I'm finally starting to work on getting XP. There are a lot of good strategies. I'm going with a very basic one, just I'm farming strong boxes, and, yeah, they're not the fastest XP, but they are safe-ish. So I've played around with sticking with the Breachlord bloodline, since we are using an Graft and a, Graft. That's worked really well for tankiness, and it's pretty solid for damage. The Graft slammy hands do hit really hard. The one thing about this is that it doesn't increase any of your sort of move speed or anything like that, right? And you get so much move speed out of the points that you give away out of the Pathfinder setup, so, you know, just showing this off. Obviously, the damage isn't counted out of the otherworldly appendages bonus, but it is 15% less physical and lightning damage taken, and we can get that in there with a custom config and see, like, that adds a ton of tankiness, you know, when it's in blue. Anyway, hash that out on both of these, and drop that, because I've kind of been bouncing back and forth between the two, but for the purposes of, like, zipping through maps, just been sticking with El Clasico, you know, 8 points in the Pathfinder tree, and you can see the move speed difference. Like, it's absolutely insane. We're over 300% move speed, fully buffed up, just to let you know how we're going. I found a Malevolence Watcher's Eye, I bought a Haste Watcher's Eye, like phasing while affected by haste. Those are both good. Didn't really like swapping back and forth between the two, so ultimately just bought a dot multi while affected by Malevolence, and phasing while you have haste. Watcher's Eye, it wasn't really that expensive and worth the price of investment. Then we've also done the setup that is just really awesome over here, an Unnatural Instinct in this area, and that will give you all of these bonuses around here. You know, some of them are worthless, stuff like mana, cost of link skills or whatever, that's pretty worthless. But there is some valuable stuff, you know, just some basic like int and dex around here, and then of course 3 different move speed points, 3 different attack speed points over here that are all getting given to you by Unnatural Instinct. And then Harrier too, you know, Harrier's nice, right? Attack and cast and move speed. And then you combine that with a Light of Meaning over here. You do want to potentially take the resistance nodes, at least that's what we're going with at the current moment. And then Light of Meaning gives you 6% increased chaos damage for every single small passive that's in the area. I guess technically the large passives too, didn't really think about that, but I guess it does apply to the notables as well. And that applies to all of the bonus, like, little nodes that you get out of Unnatural Instinct, so it's just gonna give you, like, an enormous amount of chaos damage. Like, this is not a cheap jewel, Light of Meaning with increased chaos damage, but just to show what it's worth, 21% damage. Yeah, quite a bit. So we're using that combination of bonuses to get like a huge amount of damage. Obviously, we're getting like a ton of it out of Unnatural Instinct. We also are getting increased area of effect from a Corruption implicit on the Unnatural Instinct, and we've swapped over our Ancestral Vision for the same thing. So we're getting 9% area of effect out of that, and then just to show the in-game character, 10% out of the Helm, so that puts us at like 39. And then we can do the increased damage during any flask effect prefix craft. This isn't a huge damage increase compared to like damage and area of effect on your prefix, on your gloves. It's only like 2% more damage, but it's 2% more damage and it's not that expensive to get area on jewel implicits. So I think it's worth it once you're kind of cruising into end game to make that kind of a swap. But gloves, area of effect, and area damage still works. So as long as you're staying in that 37 to 43% area of effect range, you're good however you're getting it, but this is technically a little more damage. So, we have a lot of spell suppression. We are using the Evasion Mastery that gives you 15% spell suppression as well, and this is so that we can use tattoos, because we have a lot of decks, to just add a ton of bonuses. So, we're using, I think, 4. This is probably easier to show off in game, actually. Yeah, 4 of these Ramako Fleetfoot move speed tattoos. You don't have to use any. They're actually very underpriced at the moment. I'm sure that'll change over time. And then just fitting in a bunch of these Tuffoa Herbalist Flask Effect Duration tattoos. You can check your Flask Effect uptime by going to the items page in PoB, and then looking at the item, and it'll say like average uptime, and that should be an accurate representation. You can see this one says 100% average, 71 minimum. If we swap, let's say we swap one of these bonuses, the move speed, for a Tuffoa Herbalist, it'll probably put us right at 100% full. There we go. So maybe I need to go swap a tattoo in game. I did swap some flasks around a bit, and yeah, it looks like I need to make one little change there. Also, we don't actually have that high of int requirements in this build. As it's currently constructed, it's only like 111. You do not need to level Flame Dash up past like 12. And so what we can do with all the rest of that int is just use Tattoo of the Rango Kurai Turtle. Based on however much int you have on your gear, you can just fill in as many int nodes as possible with that and make yourself very crit damage resistant. We are using a 50% reduced extra damage from crits, Corrupted Lightning Coil as well. So between... let's take a look at the tree here. What is this, like 5? Yeah, 5 tattoos, and then the body armor. We only take like 25% of extra damage from crits anyway, so crit mods basically do nothing, which is great, because those are very nasty if you don't have any of these bonuses. And yeah, we're in pretty good shape. Let's move over to gear now. So, Tides of Time, I made a bit of an upgrade on that. I got one that was well rolled, right? Technically, I used the same one. I just rolled it with Divines until I got 3 life flasks and 3 utility flasks. These are both really important. You really don't want to have 2 on either of them. It's a bit of a luxury, but it is really valuable. It allows us to not take this replenishing remedies wheel, not need that at all. And then we can use these Tuffoa Herbalist tattoos to give ourselves like permanent uptime. Once we have a Progenesis flask, we'll have permanent uptime on that pretty easily. We can get permanent uptime on a silver flask. And because we have so much charge generation and so much duration of like uptime on our flasks, we can use like these Alchemist reduced duration. They do have to be a good roll though, but like reduced duration, increased effect flasks on Topaz flask and on Quicksilver flask. So this is where we're getting a lot of our move speed. We've got one that's got a 25% reduced duration, 25% increased effect, and a move speed suffix on it. So that's why we're able to get to like 300% move speed. Also, we've added in the classic combo, Gathering Winds, Flesh and Flame. I did pay extra to get these both be foil, and it was worth it. They look cool. Honestly, this league, they were kind of surprisingly not as expensive as I'd have thought. They were only like 30 or 40 divines. Usually I feel like they're in the triple digits at this point, so... I don't remember if we had the Rune Graft or the Warp Tattoo in last time or not, or Rune Graft, rather, but definitely that's really good. It does work with shrine buffs. I mean, like, literally any kind of buff, but shrine buffs, lots of other buffs. If you're doing the Blight strategy, it works with the Blight Heart buff as well. So, this is just like a 10 out of 10 for every single build. Alright, now let's touch a little bit more on some of the rest of the gear. So I'm still using the same, honestly, terrible rolled thicket bow, but it's getting the job done. I've made a small upgrade to my quiver. I just bought like a dot multi fractured quiver and then slammed it with Deafening Essences of Woe to guarantee that T1 increased damage with bow skills until I liked the rest of the mods on the thing, and then I crafted attack speed. You can do better. So crafting a double dot multi quiver is going to be a pain, but that is definitely like one of the steps that's kind of next on the agenda for upgrading the character. Doing that and then probably swapping over to like a perfectly rolled, enchanted, corrupted Widow Hail. That'll be all on the menu for the future. This helm I think is one that I bought for like 5 chaos that somebody clearly crafted with the Genesis tree. Yeah, it is what it is. This pair of gloves is something that I crafted with the Genesis tree, and I can show you the tree setup that I am using to craft gloves. I was looking for either like Fractured Chaos Res or Fractured T1 Life. I got kind of lucky and got Fractured Perfect T1 Chaos Res, and then I rolled it with Deafening Essences of Zeal, which give you a higher base attack speed roll than is capable of naturally occurring on gloves, until I liked most of the rest of I liked the other suffix, basically. And then I used Eldritch Currency to, like, put a Chaos Dot multi mod on there, just Searing Exarch currency, and then I'll show this off. Like these bad boys, Eldritch Chaos Orbs and Eldritch Annuls, to just roll the prefixes until I got a T1 max life, and then I crafted increased damage during any flask effect, and there you go. Alright, let's go take a look at the Genesis tree that I've been using to grow gloves. So that's all I've been doing. I'm probably going to swap it after this point, but come up here and take the chance for gloves. Random quality, sure. Reduce physical modifiers. I mean, sure, I'll guarantee that it's 4-linked, whatever. I just didn't really feel like there were any other great spots to put points. More chance to be dex, less chance to be int or strength. Lowest level modifier removed. Fractured chance as well. Reduced mana mods, reduced attack mods. We actually don't want most of the attack mods. Increased chance of chaos mods, and increased chance of life mods. We're looking for fractured life or chaos on gloves, right? So we didn't really want neither like other modifiers around. So that's the tree setup. As for the boots, I think I bought these from somebody, but it's pretty much a similar setup. These are ones that I talked about in the last video. I just rolled them with essences. You know, I bought Fractured T1 move speed and then rolled them with essences until I liked the mods and crafted flat life. You know what, I'm probably going to go ahead and get around to getting a real life roll on there with Eldritch Currency after making this video. The same kind of situation with this Curse on Hit ring. I bought Hunter rings and just rolled them with the Horticrafting Station set to caster modifier until I got Despair and some modifiers on it that I liked. As for the amulet, there are plenty of ways to craft good amulets. Making a +2 amulet is another thing that's on the list, but it is like a pretty slow and arduous process to do, so that's like one that I'm kind of dreading, but yeah. So in terms of the state of the character, it's fully element immune now. It's doing something like, let's take a look at the pop. 16.5 million combined DPS, pretty good. Super tanky, able to take on all the Ubers, able to do any kind of like high level juicing and stuff, and it also moves like faster than the speed of light. The only thing that's really left to upgrade on this character would be like the bow and the quiver. Obviously, the amulet, that's a big potential upgrade. And then I guess the body armor, like more double corrupts. And then the main thing would be getting a Progenesis. Let's actually take a look and see just how big of a difference that would make. Yeah, so we're talking about like 65% increased effective health by having Progenesis on. Not a small amount. The character really already feels pretty strong, so that would be just like a massive difference in terms of feeling tanky. So top priority of all of the high budget things is getting a Progenesis. Obviously, you know, unless you don't mind 6 portal defense, but I do. So that's where we're at. Okay, final thoughts. The arms. I did make a couple of swaps here. Dot multi is probably the best mod you can get out of an old graft. It just has really high damage roll, and then the ignore enemy fizz damage reduction modifier's pretty good. Cooldown reduction's good too, though. Area of effect's good too. Provisioning wound gifts is like the one thing I would rather that be like pretty much anything else, but you know, it is what it is. And then an Esh Graft with attack and cast speed and area of effect. The other stuff, not too big of a deal. Ancient wound gifts are good. Those seem to be the most valuable. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this front. Just sticking with the Battering Old Graft and the Replicating Esh Graft, getting dot multi and attack speed. All right, that pretty much covers it. The build has absolutely come together exactly as well as hoped. Better than hoped, really. Like, the state of gear in this league is so amazing. I know there's a lot of complaining about currency or whatever. That's fine, but just in terms of the base level of gear, mamma mia, it feels like it's never been better. Okay, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and join the Skipping Sleep Studio Discord and become part of our community. And finally, thank you to all of our channel members. If you want to support us and help us make more PoE content, become a channel member or come boost the Discord. Thanks for watching. Bye.